Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to 5 Minutes with GA. I'm Steve Garrell. I'm a principal with GA Investment Management. Today we're going to talk about the CARES Act. The CARES Act was signed into law March 27th, 2020 by President Trump. It's a sweeping $2.2 trillion stimulus bill. Full name, the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act. CARES. The CARES Act builds on two former pieces of legislation by providing more robust support to both individuals and businesses, including changes to tax policy. As you can imagine, $2.2 trillion stimulus bill is enormous. So we're going to break it down into bite-sized pieces so we don't bore you to tears. Today, we're going to talk just about retirement plans and specifically how they are impacting individuals. First off, account distributions. If you are 59 and a half or younger, normally you would pay a 10% penalty to take money out of your retirement account. For 2020, you can take up to $100,000 out of your retirement account and you will not be assessed that 10% penalty. And that is retroactive to the first of this year. Additionally, if you take money out of your employer's plan, like 401k through work, normally your employer would need to take 20% of those distributions and send them off in the form of withholdings to the IRS. That's also waived. So every dollar that you take out of retirement plan would come to you now with no withholdings. Now, the distributions from any qualified retirement plan are still subject to income tax at the ordinary income tax rate. However, thanks to the CARES Act, you can spread that liability out over 3 years. If your situation changes, you don't need the money, you can recontribute. In other words, put it back into your retirement plan and it'd be like it never happened. So you wouldn't do those taxes. Pretty much all types of plans are covered, including IRAs, 401ks, 403bs, 457s. Now, perhaps a distribution isn't the best choice, and maybe you'd rather take out a loan. The limit for loans has doubled from $50,000 to $100,000. So if you have a plan through work that had a loan provision, you now can take up to $100,000 from that loan, from that plan in the form of a loan. They've also increased the amount that you can take out of vested balance. It used to be 50%. So if you had 10,000 vested, you could take out up to 5,000. Well, now you can take out the full 10. So it's 100% of your vested balance. Additionally, any loans taken out after this law came into effect on March 27th, you could put off any payments for up to a year. They'll still accrue interest, but you don't have to make any payments. Another change, required minimum distributions. If you are 72 in the year 2020, you would have had to take a minimum distribution. That has been waived, so there are no required minimum distributions due in 2020. And that applies to all defined contribution plans, IRAs, 457s, 403bs, etc. So as you would expect, this is going to bring up a lot of possible planning areas. In future discussions, we are going to be looking at these in more detail. So does it make sense for me to borrow or take a distribution? If you were going to have to take an RMD out, but you don't need the monies, perhaps you would consider a Roth conversion. So we'll look at those in more detail and also some of the tax considerations around retirement planning and these changes. So I want to thank you for attending today. If you have any questions, please send them to info@retirewithga.com and we'll address them in future editions of 5 Minutes with GA. You can follow us on Facebook for more information about upcoming presentations. I want to thank you so much for attending and please stay safe.